All right, Kiss Army, welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. Thank you for giving us your time today and letting us into your head. I hope we don't do any damage. We're just a bunch of Kiss fans and we talk Kiss. So come along for the ride. You've got nothing to lose. All right, we were going to do this second, but welcome to the KissFAQ podcast. That is the new theme music. This was supposed to be the second topic, but I'm going there right now, Mark. Thank you so much, Mark, for creating new theme music for the show. I think he did a fantastic job on it. We were driving into the cutting room last Friday when I got the email from Mark with the music. And the last time we did this, we had a little bit of a back and forth. I'm like, less drums, more drums, and all this. And Mark kept catering it to him, but he hit a home run. And the reaction in the car to me playing it was, very, very positive right there. So I hope everyone likes that. It's just the little things that help make the show, fresh, keep it nice, keep it a little bit as professional as it can be, considering we're podcasters, not media personalities or actors. But Mark, thank you so much. You all just tell everyone a little bit about the creative process that you go through when you do something like this, a theme song. Hey, Mark, do a new theme song.
So basically what I did is, since we're a Kiss podcast, obviously I wanted to do something sort of Kiss-centric, not exactly a complete robbery of anything in particular, but I'm a big 80s Kiss guy. I know lots of people in the stream are, and as well as Daniel as well as a big 80s guy, Animalize and so on and so forth. And me and Julian are big Asylum people, and Ken is a big appreciator of the 80s as well, of course, with Creatures of the Night and other records like that. So the first thing I normally do is I put a click track down. I grab my guitar and I start thinking of what kind of a Paul Stanley centric riff can I come up with, or for that fact, maybe even a Gene style riff, right? So I decided to kind of vision it kind of like an Asylum-ish kind of riff. I put it down, put the one guide guitar down, and I put the drums in. And now the big thing with the drums this time was that I wanted to find a more sort of 80s style drum set, a little bit more compression on the kit overall, a little bit more boomier kick drum and stuff like that. And I think that the kit I found worked out really nicely. And then after that, it was a matter of putting in the guitars and the bass guitar. And, Gene has a little bit of that growly distortion on his bass tone. So I wanted to make sure that was a little bit in there as well. Because the whole piece is about 1 minute and 30.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, Canadian.
Oh, no. Oh, Canada, eh?
It's the Mark Freeze.
Canadian network.
Actually, oh, wait.
Oh,
he's back.
That's weird. Anyways, yeah, so basically, I just wanted to make sure that it had that Kiss flavor to it, that sort of 80s style to it. And I think it turned out good. I wanted to make sure I had that Gene bass. And again, I think that the overall sound of it was very much of that era. A little bit, add some reverb to the guitars, make it a little bit bigger. And that's basically what I was gunning for. And I was actually very pleased that Julian liked it on first listen.
Oh, very good. You've also got an update about your Project Gemini records as well. So if you want to give that to everyone quickly.
I'll do that real quick. So they came in. The completed records are here. With hype sticker and everything in there as well for those people who are interested in those sorts of things. It has, of course, the poster and everything else in there. I'm sure you guys have seen. I'll just really quickly show you the booklet. Turned out fantastic. That comes with it. It's very Canadian looking with the Rocky Mountains and the forests in the back and stuff like that. And inside, Jason Paulin, who's a regular visitor here on this stream, he did all the layout and all the artwork and the lyrical spread out and everything. He did a fantastic job. So thank you again, Jason. I'll just show you the center labels really quickly, and then we can move on to the Kiss stuff real quickly. But again, polyline sleeves, my big pet peeve with everybody. Records, don't put that on their records. And here is the center label. It's black vinyl this time, no color. But the center labels turned out really nice.
That's a beautiful design. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So on the other side, Jason did a different one for the other side.
Jason.
Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, awesome. It turned out really good. So anybody who hasn't bought a copy, there are still some copies left. There's maybe about 25 copies left, and then they're gone, and that's that. So just go to Project Gemini on Bandcamp, and you'll find it there.
Yeah, Devolution SF. Yeah, check out some Devolution music on on my channel and on their own YouTube channel. They are heavy. They're awesome. So that's a good friends band, and that's a good Kiss related band as well, at least by the lead man, front man. Awesome guy. All right, so let's get into some of the other news, and this is site news. Everyone's wondering what the is going on with the memberships for the channel. So simple is I wanted to lower the price to 99 cents a month. YouTube doesn't let you just reassign people because of financial, legal, privacy, and all that sort of thing. So I just shit-canned that level, and it's 99 cents a month now. Hopefully that'll appeal to more people to come check out the content being created explicitly for this channel. This morning, up at 4 a.m., recorded a new demo story exclusive for the channel. That's not going to go public. A song of the moment, which I do those all the time, and always do an intro to the song before playing a remaster remix of that demo. And I've got a new feature coming as well, which I recorded the first 2 bits for. These are like under 3 minutes thereabouts type featurettes, which I'll be putting up there recently. And of course, members have hopefully enjoyed. I always say enjoyed, hopefully. What was it? Kiss Comes Alive went live on members only this week, and that'll be public next week. So again, lots of content. If anyone was confused as why your membership was canceled, well, apologies. YouTube does not make it easy to do anything around this because they want as much money as they can get, and I want as little money as it requires to take ads off the channel. And also motivate me to do that additional content. So thank you to everyone who signed up. Thank you for everyone who was able to grab one of the freebies I seeded this morning, and keep going with your suggestions, recommendations, etc. I'm happy to, cater to what people are looking for that content. Let's go to the mailroom for this week. Anyone get any mail other than me? Because I did get my sticker in from Japan. That is the San Antonio off the Soundboard point of purchase sticker from CD Japan. I did the unboxing video for that, but just in case you haven't seen that, I'll hold it the right way up. See?
Cool.
No, complete idiot. Fantastic. I'm so happy to have this in my hand. I think I've said that repeatedly. So,
Julian, I just want to say that on the, getting anything new, I did order that picture disc unmasked, right? The thing is, I immediately tried to say, "Hey, take the hoodie off my order," and so I never got. I got confirmation they got my request, but then I haven't heard anything back. But in the meantime, it's gone to shipping mode. I don't think it's officially been shipped out, but I don't know. I tried. I tried to take that off. I don't know.
Follow up with that because a lot of people are doing that. I know one friend who did that and got an immediate cancellation. But I think people have gotten wise to that because we talk about it on shows. And I think they may be starting to get a bit annoyed at that because that is extra work and effort on their side. I don't think they'd get the message of perhaps just selling the fucking thing on its own and not forcing you to get all this unnecessary add-on crap. But again, it's business. So right now that has been working for them for the most part. But be persistent. Again, you are the customer. Be polite. I don't need to tell you.
They've done it before for me, but and it is like over $70 that they're charging for that.
Yeah, so it is.
That's a $70 savings, Anyway.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens.
I need to go back and order my air freshener because I still say it stinks.
Oh,
I did a little bit of a dive through that, and we'll talk about the merch as well. One last thing that came in the mail is Joey's Casada's Elder book.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Joey, I'm going to start reading this today. Honest, I'm going to talk to him for a show episode as well. Once I'm done reading it, because he's a really nice guy. It was great to see him in New York as well. So,
real fast, I have to say a thing as well. I said this one was going to be in English, the next issue, and it is going to be in English. The Swedish Kiss Destroyer magazine. I have gotten a lot of messages from people all over the world asking for information in English, how to get it. They're still working on it, so it's in the works. it will
good.
happen, and you will get information in English. They just need to, work out the shipping rates and all that. So it's on its way. So don't forget this. Grab it when it comes out. I think you'll get a fair price, and it's just a beautiful magazine. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, when they're ready, if they could email me, and you've got my email address,
Yeah,
that would be
get it
great.
out
We'll
there.
get that posted up on the message board because we'll support that 100%.
Maybe we
One
should
other
do an episode on that when they're ready. We can
when
get
the
a few.
time comes,
Mhm.
happily, without any doubt, we'll
Yeah.
have them on. One last thing about merch is the trials and tribulations of doing podcast merchandise. I only want a couple of items, and I've been using a seller for several years to fulfill orders and whatnot, but they were unable to process an updated KissFAQ t-shirt because they have too much volume. So they will still take orders and
Really?
offer a service for something that they can't fulfill because of their own shortcomings. So basically, I've found a new provider. I have a new 2025 design, just the simple KissFAQ logo now, just black and white, very basic, very minimal, which will be coming. I have my test order into the new facilitator to see if that's working and to make sure that the quality is acceptable. There's also a hoodie, but that's all I'm doing for merch around the show. As I do want to keep it simple. All right, enough about all that. You know what a great week it's been, by the way?
No.
We've had 3/4 of the original lineup performing live in various capacities. Peter at the Cutting Room last Friday. Gene and Ace both played last night. Gene's show was cut short by lightning, unfortunately, for those in Georgia, which is obviously a bummer. And Ace seemed to have a extremely good turnout where he was playing as well.
Okay.
3/4 of the original Kiss lineup. That's reason to celebrate as far as I'm concerned. And that's what this episode is going to be all about today. 2025 is actually shaping up to be pretty exciting when we go through all of the different things that have been on offer. Obviously, the unmasked rollout for the 45th anniversary of that is a little bit bumpy. It went live before emails went out. It's also aggravated people by having a pre-sale only available to people with Kiss Army memberships, which is $50 a year. I still think it's good value because you get a t-shirt and I think a pin, and you did get pre-access to multiple things, and also you can sign up for the free level for that audio tour. But let's just start with that before we get into some of the other things that we find exciting. Daniel, did you see the rollout of the unmasked merch, and what was your take on that, if any, and if not, punt to Ken or Mark?
Well, I'm just happy they're releasing stuff after that awful year, 2024. Things are shaping up this year, and I guess we'll probably get some box sets, and also this touring stuff with Gene. I didn't know that Gene was going to perform in America. I thought he canceled his whole tour. So is this something else than the original tour? Some sort of.
He canceled the May stuff. I don't think all the May.
Okay.
Just the April.
Because I saw Gene last year, or was it last year? Yeah, I think so. That was the high point of that year. It was a nice get together at that concert, but I'm just happy that they're releasing stuff. I'm happy that things are happening. I think it's like a buzz, you can feel it even on the channel. I mean, Julian has been rejuvenated, or whatever the word is, and started to put out much more stuff than he's ever done on the channel. And I think I can speak for both Ken and Mark that we're really happy about this recent updates and engagement in the channel. It rubs off on us as well, so we like it. So far this is starting to be the best year since 2023 at least.
Absolutely.
So stuck on mute, Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I'm happy that, similarly like Daniel, that things are happening and that things are starting to roll again. Sure, some of the things that were out early on were a little odd releases, but now we're getting back to things that we're more used to, like colored vinyl and stuff like that. Me personally, I'm a big unmasked guy. So I was pondering to get the colored vinyl, but decided that, I didn't want to have a 13th variant of that album. I already have like 12 other versions of that record in different countries and stuff like that. And plus I bought the 40th when it came out, Not Splattered, that came out. So I bought that one, and it's the same. It's going to be the same mastering, I'm pretty sure. The Dead Wax will confirm that afterwards. But still, I did buy something though. I bought myself another T-shirt. Being the T-shirt guy, I did buy myself one of the Japanese Kiss T-shirts that were on the Unmasked site, and I did receive a message today that it is at the border, and they sent me my $17 tariff charge that came with it to kind of cross the border. I'm like, great. But luckily, DHL has done this thing now, and I didn't know if they did this before or not. But they said you don't have to pay it if you don't want to through the site, but it'll go through. But you'll have to pay it at the post office instead, which I'm much more comfortable with, because years back, a DHL site ripped me off and totally scanned my credit card. It was obviously not the real DHL site, but I got ripped off. So. I don't like going through these kind of sites anymore. So now that they offer that it'll just go through and you can pick it up at the post office, I'm doing it that way. So I am excited to get my T-shirt. They said, how many do you have? I have a lot of Kiss T-shirts. I'm approaching double digits now with my Kiss T-shirts. So, I'd like to get one from every album, at least one from, the tours that are available, Alive and Alive 2 and Alive 3 and stuff like that. And I even have a couple of these, Walmart knockoff kind of Kiss T-shirts as well. I have a couple of those as well. So, and I love my T-shirts. I go as far as talking about how to wash them and everything on here, as you guys know. So, I'm pressing for that Tide endorsement. Maybe one day I'll get some endorsement from Tide or some other like washing, Sunlight or something.
Very nice. And that's, of course, the Canadian tariff that you're paying. You're not paying an American tariff, because your government's at that as well. So, Wade Lucas, thank you very much for gifting 20 memberships to everyone who's able to get one. That's very much appreciated. All right, Ken.
Yeah, the rollout of Kiss Unmasked was, all these ones that they've rolled out before have been near or on the date of the release, the anniversary of these albums. And this one was jumped the gun and happened early. First of all, I heard it happened, looking on the message boards, like it was these vinyl. The vinyl was up there for a while, and then they took it down. And when it was up, it was at, you could buy 4 at a time, supposedly, for that short period of time. Then they took it down, but the other merch was still up, and they left that up. And then a little bit later on, about an hour later, maybe, they brought it back up again, and the vinyl, you could buy 1 at a time. So I quick got on there at that point. And then after all that and everything's said and done, then you got the email later on saying that the merch is available. You're supposed to get this email if you're a Kiss Army member, a paid member, ahead of time, alerting you that it's going to happen. I would expect that they would alert you a day before, but they really kind of screwed this one up anyway. And I don't understand the other thing where a lot are turning up on eBay from like a same user kind of thing. So I'm wondering, can you buy the limited 1 at a time, and then complete that order, and then buy another 1 and complete that order, and then another 1, and that sort of thing. I'm kind of wondering if there's a way around buying extras, so people are profiting, of course, off of Kiss fans that cannot get out to the site or wherever in time to buy it. But whatever, it's kind of like, it's still not perfect. They still need to fix some things, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're trying new things out. I think the thing to remind everyone that this is a new era for Kiss, and because Pop House is now involved and in the driving seat for a lot of these things. So they have their own ideas. Clearly, they are changing things around and trying to make things different and improve things. So be patient with the process, because as Doc would say, it's part of the process. Obviously the cynic in me immediately wondered when it went live, because I saw it go live, not soon after it went live and 4 were available. I'm like, what is this, catering to friends to let them get their orders in first? And they're going to restrict it because all of a sudden you've got all those listed up on eBay. It seems to be very convenient, but I think conspiracy theories are best left to politics and history because it's just unhealthy to think so negatively all the time. I was happy with the merch. I did it in the, or I said it in the merch review that I did for the Unmasked stuff, that I think the colored vinyl looks spectacular. That looks excellent compared to the cake sprinkle one they did for the 40th. I think the picture disc looks great. The foil cover is going to be fantastic. We know that from what we've seen of the ones that have been done. I thought the air freshener was a refreshing new idea. At least try something, even if I didn't like the backside of that. That design with just having the lyrics. Some of the t-shirts are cool, and having feminine styled ones, is excellent. So again, they are trying to do stuff. They are doing stuff with the merch. Obviously, it's the same issue with the drummer on that one, that they have image rights to certain images, so they're able to use Peter's from the comic. But they're not able to use Eric's because I don't believe that they have image rights for Eric or Fox design, probably because Vinny owns the trademark or close enough to the trademark for it just not to be worth getting into a fight with him. And again, Pop House is figuring what they really have, what they have to be careful. They're a business, so they're going to always err on the side of caution. But I think for us fans, with the Asylum stuff, as we kind of noted earlier, a lot of people got upset, probably me included, about only 2 members being featured, but you can't just slap anyone's face on anything you want without them getting paid. So we'll see how they do. What will really matter is on the next one, how they do. Let's get into some of the other things that are coming, We've talked about Kiss Army Storms Las Vegas, but quickly, is that exciting to you at this point now that you've seen it kind of develop and more guests have been added? Bruce was announced recently as an addition to that lineup. Eric is still out there. Is that excitement worthy, Mark, yet?
No, I honestly, it's kind of dropped off my radar completely, mainly because I'm not going to be going and stuff like that because, not just something I'm not interested in for the reasons I mentioned before. The main one being the status of Paul Stanley's singing voice. I mean, what's going to happen with that? But in any case, I'm sure for those who go, it'll be a great time. I mean, going to Las Vegas itself might be just a great thing to do. And Max just brought up a great point there. Vegas is still too expensive for some people. And that sort of situation might be too expensive as well. The one thing that I'll never understand, well, I do understand, but I think it's kind of a low blow to Kiss fans is that you have to buy their hotel. I mean, a lot of the times people go visit other Kiss fans and are invited by Kiss members, not members, but Kiss like people in the community to come over and stay at my house for the weekend. We can chat and blah blah blah, and that would save people hotel. But Kiss, clearly thinks that, that's something that they don't want to have happen. They want your money instead of going over and staying with somebody else. So that's kind of one of the things that kind of irks me about this to begin with. So, but, those who are going to go, I'm sure they'll have a good time.
Thank you. I'm having real difficulties with my mute button today, guys. Daniel.
Well, I think Mark said it great when he said the people who are going to have a great time. It's not for everyone, and I think I'm not really excited about seeing Kiss, without makeup, playing acoustically, and Paul, struggling through a few songs. But I do think the format can be, developed into something interesting. I think this is sort of a test run. Let's see where it goes, and maybe they can develop it into something really, really interesting. I do know that people over here in Sweden have started to talk about getting the convention thing going, and there are plans being made. And I think before the end of the year, there will probably be something, at least in Stockholm. I know people are planning that. We'll see what happens. And some people are talking about maybe is it worth bringing over Bruce Kulick or someone over here, and I'm more for the fan-based convention type of things. It comes from the heart. You bring in one or two special guests, and the most important ingredient these days, I think, are the fans. So as long as you can bring in a few hundred fans, diehard fans, everyone is going to have a great time. So I'm not really up for Kiss playing, a subpar concert. I'm more, the Kiss hysteria going through the corridors, meeting people, that are at the same level as you in the fandom. I think that's more exciting than actually watching the band these days, at least in that setting, sitting on bar stools strumming the guitar. So that's not for me.
Yeah, I hope if the Swedes do a convention, a fan convention, that they wait until 2026, because this year everyone's budgets are destroyed.
It'll be expensive
with
this year.
with some of the other things that are potentially coming, and Gene's talked about this as well. So can you guys wait a little bit and give the wallets a break? Because I would love to fly out to Sweden to participate in that. I would do that. I've said I want to get back to Sweden, and I most certainly do. Ken, your thoughts on Vegas?
Yeah, I'd go to Sweden too. I think it'd be a cool trip.
Yeah,
let's go road trip.
See Daniel in his natural environment.
Take you to Sweden.
Yeah, the Las Vegas thing. I mean, it excites me as far as even though I'm not going, being able to see what goes on at the time, because we know there's going to be a lot of people, posting videos on YouTube and that sort of thing. So I'd like to see what happens with these different events. Kind of like, the cruise always had that. I think this is going to be more immediate, because cruise, you don't have a lot of what is it? Connections, satellite connections or phone connections back when you're out on the ocean. But it should be more immediate, I'm thinking. And there'll probably be some live streams, I would imagine, too. So from that standpoint, even though I will not be there, I'll look forward to seeing some of the things that goes on and whatever this Kiss performance is going to be and how that goes over.
Yeah, isn't it at the Virgin Hotel? Because I was just watching, you hope they'll be streaming, because I was watching a show about Virgin Cruises, transatlantic, and they were charging $390 for a Wi-Fi on Virgin. So you have to buy Wi-Fi in the hotels. So it's gonna. I guess it's gonna.
That's what Mark thinks of that one.
Yeah. All right. Mark has voted with his wallet. I'm excited. I'm excited, even though I'm not going. I'm excited to see how it develops and how it delivers for those people who are going. I'm strictly an observer in this because I'm not going. So I'm wishing them success. I'm wishing them something awesome, because I'm not a dick. It's like, I'm not going. I hope it's a failure. No, I'm not going, and I hope it's a success. I hope I have a pang of regret after the fact that I didn't go, just like I did with some of the events where they were performing The Elder and the Creatures of the Night, the unofficial stuff. So, that was great, and it is exciting. One of the things that Gene has let out is that 2 boxes are coming, Dressed to Kill and Alive, this year, and that's why I think it's going to be a very expensive year. I mean, how excited do you get about the prospect of Dressed to Kill as a box on its own, or Alive as a box on its own? And of course, Todd is hoping that they officially release the Great Demo Mistake, which presumably, if that was recorded in 1975, there's a chance it might be included. Those have circulated for many years in absolute shite quality. Let's go back to Mark. Mark, Dressed to Kill, Alive, weigh those up for excitement level, and which one excites you, and what would excite you about either?
Well, I like both albums. Better yet, I love both albums, to be honest with you. I look forward to both of them. Whether I can afford both of them at the same time, I think that's going to be unlikely. It's going to be a matter of which one I think will, be of more interest to me at the time when I get it. So, the Alive one, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of stuff like as extras in there, like how they always add those extra little paraphernalia, like, press kits and blah, 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 all those little things in there, scarves and all that stuff like they did with Destroyer and stuff like that. But I think that the Dress to Kill one could be very interesting as well. How they approach that stuff as well. Because I know that for Alive, for example, there's a lot of stuff you can find online that that was extra stuff. Like they have something floating around called the Kiss Alive, the alternate version. They have like alternate mixes of the album stuff that was out there, and there's all kinds of stuff available. So I know that the Alive version of it could have a lot of different audio on there as well. So I think right now, as it sits, I think Dress to Kill is the one I'm kind of a little bit more interested in, just to see what the extras will be and what kind of extra things they'll attach to the release as well. And I'm always anxious to see what kind of design they have on the box. What are they going to do for the box itself? And there's so many things you can do. I mean, as somebody who works now on the label side of things as well, my own little rinky dink label, I always try to find little things to add, posters and the download cards, special
You've
designs.
Always been
stickers.
big on the hotkeys with your records, Mark. You love doing that from day one.
I love doing it because, again, that was the influence from Kiss, whether it was the sticker in Rock and Roll Over or the gun in Love Gun, just to give the fans a little bit of something extra. And I don't like fans, supporters something extra for their support. I mean, I think that you deserve it. When somebody gives me it gives me $30 for an album, that's hard-earned money. So they deserve a little extra here and there. So I'm looking forward to Dress to Kill and see what kind of little chotskis we will get for this album.
Yeah, Ken, Dress to Kill and or Alive, and who's looking forward
both.
to Felix Lost Alive tracks?
No, I mean, yeah, both. I mean, I love these box sets, and I assume that they're doing a Dress to Kill box set because they found enough material and things that are cool to add to it. Otherwise, they would, they're not going to do a box set if they got nothing. So I think there's going to be some cool unreleased things that we may end up hearing on that. The other thing I like about these box sets, which they've done, and I imagine they're going to keep with the format that they had with like the newspaper with the interviews and that sort of thing, a song by song kind of thing.
Oh, that's the best part.
Gotham News, I think it is, right? Then the was it the promo press kit? The press kit.
Press kit.
Oh, because that press kit from Dress to Kill was very, very cool. Very cool looking too. That was done. So I wouldn't mind a replica of that. I don't think they had tour books yet at that time, but I'm sure they'll add posters and other things. It would be nice if they actually started doing like a video or something like that, DVD or something like that. And I assume they might do another Atmos kind of thing. Atmos for that would have maybe the album on Atmos, and then also, like remixed or something, and then a live concert from that tour would be cool too. So yeah, I like that. And then of course Alive goes without saying, with all the possibilities of all the uncut concerts that were used to make Alive and see what comes of that. So I'm excited for both of those things. I think they should spread out though the timing. I think the earlier they do, maybe Dress to Kill or one of those, they shouldn't release them at the same time. They to me, they got to spread it out a little bit more. I don't know. I hear the fall for this stuff, but I just hope they're not too close together, for pocketbook purposes, spending purposes.
All right, Daniel, I'll get to you in 1 minute.
Oh, hey, you're still here, watching or listening. Why don't you hit that subscribe button or click the like one? And if you want even more, click on the join button on YouTube. Thanks for your support.
It scared me.
Yeah, so there's a lot of gifted memberships today to the members side of the site. Go check out all that content that becomes available with a membership. Just to answer a quick question, is there any reason given for the Dress to Kill 50th anniversary delay? I think first and foremost, none of these box sets have been officially announced. Gene just mentioned it in passing, really flapping his gums again, as he did with the Creatures one. So Universal and or Pop House have not gotten all their ducks in a row, I would expect, to make the official announcement with some eye candy, with ads and all that jazz. Mark?
One quick thing before we get to Daniel. I just realized when I looked at the YouTube site that the KissFAQ is at 3.99K subscribers. We are very close to hitting 4,000. So if you haven't subscribed yet, we are very close to getting to 4,000. So if you haven't subscribed, just like Dark Light here said, I just subbed. So if you haven't subbed, do it. We'll get to 4,000 maybe. Thank you.
Yeah, and you'll get notifications for new videos when they pop up. And I'm generating a lot of content, both for the member side and the public side at the moment. So your support is appreciated. I've never made a big effort on pushing for subscriptions and everything, but it does help. There's an algorithm on YouTube that really does help us get, eyeballs. Daniel, if you can remember what the original question was.
I do. Well, I think these two box sets will make a whole lot of Kiss fans happy. And Kiss fans getting happy makes me happy. So even if I might not get both of them, I still think it's an important thing, these kind of box sets. And I'm just happy that they will be releasing them. I'm more into music, so I'm not too much into the trinkets, the posters, the photos, the magazines. I got a lot of that shit already, so I don't need too much more of that kind of stuff. But I do enjoy looking at it and enjoying that other fans are getting excited about it. If I look back at the previous releases, like the Destroyer box set and the Creatures box set, the one thing that stands out for me is actually one of the songs that I never knew existed, and that's Betrayed from the Creatures of the Night box set. So I'm hoping for something like that from the Dress to Kill box set, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. But that was such a surprise to me, and an almost finished Vinnie Vincent song. It was. I still listen to that song. I think it's a pretty cool cut. So I'm looking forward to something like that. And then I think Ken said a great thing there about unedited Kiss concerts that were the base for Kiss Alive, having the different concerts. That would be pretty cool as well. And then, of course, just people getting excited makes me excited, and I'm looking forward to the music.
Yeah, I mean, I cover it in Kiss Comes Alive, which will be out on Wednesday for everyone. But, those 5 shows that were recorded for Kiss Alive are semi-legendary in their own right. We don't know what the set list is to Kobo. We don't know what the set list performed in Cleveland was. We don't know what the set list for the 2 shows in Davenport were. And we've got a really shitty audio of Wildwood, which is choppy and incomplete. So we don't know what the full set list and set order was for any of these 5 shows. 5 shows that became Kiss Alive, and we've got very little information about them. There's very little reviews that I've been able to find, obviously, about them. So it really is one of those things that I find incredibly appealing. I want to hear the 4 Larrabee demos in pristine shape, because they're so sludgy in the ones that have circulated since 2012, 2013, that it's impossible to really enjoy them. And as Daniel said, is there anything like Betrayed? Betrayed was it jumped out as a oh yeah moment, along with Ain't None of Your Business did on Destroyer, which I wasn't expecting that quality. I was really happy with both of those. So is there going to be one of those moments on either of these, if Gene is accurate? So I'd be very exciting to see how both of these boxes are structured. I had never seen the Alive Press kit in its entirety until John Humphrey's backstage auction. I've seen the Dress to Kill one, but I've never seen it or held it. I've held bits of it. So those are the things that I like. And whichever one of you guys mentioned, the Gotham News, I love those. I really love those. I scanned mine in super high res.
And the book.
CR on them. I've got an extra book for Creatures because I reference it a lot. So I love how they've done these packages, but I also want to see what what sort of input are they starting to make on any of these products, which they've done too, which have followed a very similar form. Is Pop House shaking things up in any way and making any changes to improve that and listening to feedback? Because we're not the only show in town. A lot of people have had various sorts of feedback about these products. So it's exciting from that perspective. I want to see them happen. I would love for one of them to be announced if that's the case. I don't like dealing with what ifs, rumor, innuendo, or, the backroom stuff, which obviously you end up knowing when you run a website. So it's very exciting because it's been a long time since 2022 and the last one. It's been a very long wait. It's been a drought, and I want more. So let's move on to other new music potentially coming in 2025. And we talked about one of these last week, Peter Criss, a new studio album. By the way, fantastic response to those videos that we did last week with Peter. I'm very excited for Peter by the response he's received in, the music press all across the world, and just seeing the excitement on that side of his name, new album from him coming, and the reaction to it has been overwhelmingly positive. And that is great as a Kiss fan, as a Catman fan, and as a Peter fan. So Ace Frehley also potentially has Origins Volume 3. I don't know whether that'll be done this year. He's posted some shots on his Facebook of in the studio working with Alex Saltzman on recordings for that. Whether he can get that done and out in 2025 is another matter. But Daniel, start with you. 2025, potentially new studio albums from two original founding members of, I got to stop saying original because they are founding members of Kiss, and they're the real deal, not imitations. Daniel.
Well, I'm not sure if we can get any details out of you, Julian, because you're really the only one here that knows anything about the new Peter Criss album. But I would like to ask you at least, is the new album closer to the 94 album, or is it closer to the early 80s albums? What would you say about that, Julian?
Oh God, my mute button's malfunctioning again.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw your mouth moving, but nothing. I couldn't hear anything.
No. Let me just say this in the nicest way, Daniel. Yeah. I've pontificated on previous episodes about people who drop hints and whatnot about things that are coming, and I've somewhat been negative towards that because of the value of excitement and the person or act having the right to release that information themselves on their own schedule. I'm not saying anything further than what's already been said. I
knew that. I knew you would say that. So, but I had to try at least.
But I don't want to be a cock tease on this either, in any way, and offer little hints or nudges because that's uncool. I think everyone will be able to make up their own minds when it comes out. Objectively, people will like it or people won't like it. I hope at least that they have an open mind and they're willing to not judge it by anything that's come before. This is 2025. So Peter will be doing additional press in the future. And I'll just say what we've said previously. Check out petercriss.net for any news about new interviews or new press features on the album as it gets closer. Sorry.
I think I'm excited about the new Peter Criss album, with original material, of course. Actually, this week I've been listening to one of his previous albums, Let Me Rock You, from I think it's 82. And I found some stuff there I liked. And it was never a record for me in the 80s. I became aware of this way later, I think. And what I'm looking for with Peter is, of course, his vocals. and I'm hoping he's doing some sort of catchy tune, because when I listen to that 82 record, there's a song called Bad Boys or something. The final song on that one is so catchy, and it made me go and listen to the 80. Did it come out in 81 or 80? That other album that he released,
Out of Control.
Out of Control.
1980, same time as Unmasked.
There's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than me, and that's also a really catchy sort of a pop tune. So when people are saying that he's releasing a hard rock album, I don't know what to expect really. So I can't see him, screaming over some heavy metal guitars. I'm hoping they won't try to make it sound like the Dee Snider album, which Dee Snider can actually, sing to really hard rock, heavy metal, electric guitars. He works with them. Peter Criss, to me, is more kind of, popish or at least hard rock. So I'm a bit hesitant. I'm not sure how this album will sound.
I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm really gonna have fun, because I watched the rest of your guys' show last week after I dropped off, and watching you guys try to figure out what what is and what may be. I'm gonna be entertained for a bit. So thank you all.
Yeah, I just have to say I'm really excited. But I have no clue where this will go. If I will like it, if I will, don't like it as much as I'm hoping, or whatever. But having heard that it's supposed to be a hard rock album makes me a little bit hesitant, because I think he's at his best when he is more, popish or ballady kind of guy.
No.
Oh hell yeah, Mark!
No.
Yeah, Beth is great.
People are tired of the ballads.
Yeah, but you don't need 10 ballads, but you need at least 1 or 2, and then some.
Well,
pop
there's
songs.
Of course, there's gonna be.
You know that,
Daniel,
Mark.
Daniel,
you don't know that.
Let me read my friend Daniel. Okay, let me reassure you of one thing. As my brother from a different mother, okay, I will tell you that there will be for sure 1, even 2. I'm willing to bet 2 ballad type songs that you'll be over the moon for. I think that you're going to like. I'm pretty sure of that. Now, the way I kind of approach this, if you don't mind me telling my piece on this, is that I think that I'm going in with this kind of like I did with the Rolling Stones record that came out, the Hackney Diamonds. I didn't know what to think when that came out. They're older guys now and stuff like that. But I was really joyfully impressed by that record. Sometimes age isn't a factor. I think they did some great stuff on that. They wrote some great songs on there. They had some help here and there with some good session players and stuff like that, and technology maybe played a little bit of help. But the record was great, and they were able to perform it live on stage too. I saw lots of shows of it, like online. They did a pretty decent job of it. I think Peter record is going to be good. He has some great people involved with it. John Five, Billy Sheehan. He has some good production people behind him as well. And we know he has a good whiskey voice. We saw him singing the other day there when he was in, was it in New York there, when he did some of those songs with those people on stage. He sounded fine. His voice is still there. Sure, he's not going to be, hitting the upper stratosphere like he did in like 77 doing Black Diamond or something like that. But he's going to still, I think, have enough in his voice to give us, the decent hard rock songs that we were hoping for all those years ago. And I still think there's going to be that, and there's going to be the ballad stuff, because that, as you mentioned, Daniel, the ballad stuff is what he was pretty much known for. Beth, Hard Luck Woman, those kind of songs. And even in his solo material, like you said, the solo albums that you listen to, the ballady stuff were the more catchy material to you. So he knows what his strength is. He will keep those strengths, I think, in there as well.
I'm just hoping he doesn't bring, bad songs from John 5, because on that album from 82, he brought in a song from Billy Idol's guitarist, Steve Stevens, whatever.
Yeah.
Steve Stevens. And that's the worst song on that album. Hell yeah. Crap.
Oh my god, that was the Malibu Cadillacs or something. His
a great
Billy
guitar
Idol
solo,
band.
but that's about it,
Yeah,
And
but Bill O'Coin placed that with him and Vinny, who was doing the album. Vinny wanted Peter focusing on his voice and on his singing on Let Me Rock You. And he said, don't worry about the songwriting. Don't worry. I will pick the songs. I will bring in the studio guys to record you. You sing, Catman. And, you know, Vinny was that kind of, you know, producer. So you had First Day in the Rain because, number one, Bill Aucoin was representing Steve Stevens at that time. And he had placed him with Billy Idol, and because he'd been managing Gen X into ripping Steve Stevens out, ripping Billy out into a solo career. So that's where that comes from. But I mean, Vinny also took the Gene song.
Yeah, and the Vinny song, and the John Lennon song. So he brought in a lot of stuff.
Peter loves John Lennon, so you know that's and the Beatles.
Could have picked another one. He could have picked another one.
Well, for me, I don't know what's going to be on it. When I hear hard rock, I could think, well, is it going to be like 80s kind of hard rock, or it's going to be maybe or 70s kind of hard rock. I wouldn't mind it, you know, be 70s kind of hard rock. I think that would fit his voice better. That kind of rock and roll. I think it's be more just rock and roll, but it'd be on the heavier side. As far as a ballad, I could see a power ballad kind of thing. I don't think you're going to get a Beth kind of ballad. I don't think you're going to get, I don't know, but I don't think you're going to get a Hard Luck Woman type of ballad either. But, and he says rock album, I think it's going to be rocking. So I'm just looking forward to hearing it. I don't know what, I could speculate all, you know, we can speculate all we want about it, but we'll just have to see. You know, the proof will be in the pudding, I guess.
I'm trying to type responses to the chat. Mark.
I already gave my opinion on that.
He gave his. We all gave our opinions.
Yeah.
All right. So Ace's album. Any excitement for Origins Volume 3, Mark?
Well, I'll start if you don't mind. Origins Volume 3, I think, is going to be. It could be. Look, it has the possibility of being interesting for one reason. The covers, you know, obviously it's an album of covers. What he decides to pick will be what, for me personally, will dictate my excitement level. If he picks songs that I have, you know, some sort of connection to, or songs that I think are really cool and I would never expect him to do, then yes, my level will go up in that case. You know, I own both of them already on vinyl and CD. I've been pretty loyal in that way. With these records. But, you know, again, it depends on what he does. If it's, you know, stuff that we're going to always kind of expect that he's going to do, you know, like he'll do a Zeppelin song or he'll do a Deep Purple song or whatever, then it may not be as exciting. But, you know, if he throws in something that we didn't expect, like, I mean, when he did Rock and Roll Hell, I wasn't expecting that at all when he did that, cool. You know, and to hear him do his take on it was fantastic. It was one of those moments where you think to yourself, okay, so if he was actually involved with Creatures, maybe he would have sounded a little bit like this, guitar-wise at least, or whatever, right? So those are the kind of things those are the kind of things that make me excited. So it depends very much on the track listing, I think.
Yeah, I think you made a great point there with the stuff he did from Creatures. That's what I remember from the previous albums when he did Rock and Roll Hell. In his own way. I think that was a really cool, I don't know who brought in that idea, but that was a cool idea. So something like that. He could do another song from Creatures, Killers or something. I think that would be awesome. And I think in the studio he sounds great as well. Vocally, I think he still can bring it. And give him a few shots and he'll create a solo for you as well. But what I think has been lacking is they have been too close to the original at times. Some of his covers. I think he needs to think a bit more outside of the box. But what would I like to hear on the album? Well, if I could pick, I would like to see some more contemporary music being played there. Oh, contemporary, it's old. When I'm thinking about contemporary music, it's 30 years old, you know, like Alice in Chains or Stone Temple Pilots or Pearl Jam, something like that would be.
I was hoping
cool.
You were thinking Tom Jones or something like that.
Yeah, but you could, because if it's just going to play, the Origins kind of stuff.
Mm.
We've heard Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff. Throw us something from left field. A surprise. I'd like to see that.
Devo.
Yeah, and also I like that version from that he did with his, let's see, his previous ex. What's on Your Mind? A duet. I think that worked really, really well. The one he did with her that has leaked somehow. Something like that. Maybe do a different take on one of his original songs. I think that would be cool as well. But
Nice.
yeah. So I'm a bit tired of the Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, that kind of stuff. Jimi Hendrix.
Agreed. Yeah.
So something different. Maybe he needs to take a look at the concept and change it a little bit, in order to make it interesting for the fans.
Well, see, the thing is, just really quickly, the Origins idea, I guess he kind of thinks of it as the songs that influenced him growing up. But the thing is, though, you can also say now, as he's been growing up as a musician, there has been new things that have inspired him as he's grown.
Exactly.
So he can use those.
Yeah.
I was just going to go back because and slightly plug the Ace book we're working on, because we do have song lists.
Yeah, we need to hear this.
I can only see a little bit of it on this page. I don't want to give too much away with that. Hopefully coming out this year. But Revolution, Rain, Summertime Blues, Time, Satisfaction, Proud Mary.
Yeah, Proud Mary. Paul did Summertime Blues on the Revenge record. So.
Well, yeah, but Ace hasn't. But that's. I've got like 3 pages of song lists from these pre-Kiss bands that he was playing. It was basically the whole repertoire for one. I would love for him to be going through that to remind himself of what he cut his teeth on in the clubs.
But he claimed to be influenced by a lot of these songs. How many songs that have appeared on the previous 2 Origins albums did he really play? Did he play those songs in the early years?
I haven't gone back and correlated
I'm not sure
with the list yet. I've just been, too focused.
At times it feels like someone tells him, well, Deep Purple released these songs. Maybe you were influenced by those. Well, heck yeah. And then
yeah, but then again, if I go back and those songs on Origins 1 and 2 are not on this list. If it's Cream, he played it. If it's Hendrix, he played it. Okay. If it's Stones, he probably played it. So
The Who?
From those, yeah. Does he remember the other ones? Because there would have been a lot of other songs as well, because some of the other guys in the bands also mentioned other songs that aren't on those lists. So Ace Frehley played a lot of rock and roll in the clubs. They were a jukebox, like a good cover band was at the time. They weren't doing originals. I think one band had one original, and nothing ever came of it. So, but would Kiss fans recognize the connection? I mean, Kiss fans at the Cutting Room didn't recognize the connection and the influence of Mountain on the riffs of Kiss. They started singing Kiss songs. They're Mountain songs. It's like, come on, guys. It's like, where's you got to have musical education to understand the influences. And when he says he's influenced by a guitarist, Brian Jones, big influence.
Yeah.
Can you pick a specific song? No, you don't need to.
But I liked it when in the early 90s when he got together with contemporary bands like Skid Row and played stuff. I vividly recall him playing, some sort of outdoor festival with Skid Row and Pantera, I think, at the same time. That was kind of cool. So what if he would do Walk from Pantera? Wow, that would be something.
Well, who's going to sing that? He can't read.
Have a guess, but why shouldn't he?
I think it'd be cool.
Features with Dimebag.
The guitar he did on covers he did with those.
Or the stuff he did with Slash, similarly, So again, I think Origins doesn't have to be restrained to just those things that he was doing pre-1973, because people say he didn't evolve, but he was certainly influenced by other things that came along in both the 70s and 80s. I mean, go listen to any of those early Comet demos. Ken, I haven't forgotten about you.
No, it's all right. I don't know what he's going to do. It's all about the song or the songs. I hope there's something or some songs on there that make me want to, buy it. I don't want another space song reference. I don't want him to do another one of those, though he probably will. But I don't want that. I'd love to hear, just some, good rock and roll. It doesn't have to be new artists. Again, it should be like it was, I think, originally intended to be bands that he liked, excuse me, or influenced, him when he started. So I can imagine it's going to go, it can go way, way back, a lot of the music. I don't think he's going to play a song from, the 80s or something, though, other than Kiss, like he did that with Rock and Roll Hell. But I think he's just got to stick to 70s and 60s songs that he really grew up on and enjoyed. And like you said, the guitarist that influenced him and played on those songs. So we'll see. You never know what you're going to get with Ace.
But you guys, if you could pick one song that you think he would cover, what would it be? Do you have an idea what kind of song or what band he would play? I think he would do a space song, and maybe this time it's Elton John's turn. So Rocket Man by Ace Frehley.
Or you could do Bowie, right? So
how about this? Okay. Shooting Star by Joe Perry Project.
Mm.
Oh yeah, Bad Company. That wouldn't be too bad. I would be okay with that one. Yeah.
I'd much prefer that if he does any add-ons like that. Daniel had the greatest idea of him doing a duet of some sort for one of his solo album songs, or just him continuing to redo some of the songs he wrote, that Peter song, so we could have the Ace vocal versions of those, because I liked how that worked out previously.
Talking about duets, did you see Lita Ford and Glenn Hughes this past weekend? They did that Aussie Lita Ford song, a duet. Wow.
I saw that.
Glenn Hughes is the man. How old is that guy? He has to be at least 75. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. He's got a great voice, for sure.
Glenn Hughes is elemental. But you know what? Something else.
Rayleigh should do a Suffragette City from Bowie. That'd be a good thing for him. Pretty simple, and he could. I think that would fit his rock vibe. But yeah, but you had a good point though, Daniel. People like Glenn Hughes who can still belt it out and play bass. I mean, when I hear people like Glenn Hughes, I think it gives hope and inspiration to people as they get older, because some people think that as you get older, you can't do it, you lose all your skills. But people like him seem to still keep it in check. Maybe it's good genetics or whatever, but there's still hope.
And the teeth keeps getting wider on those guys. I don't know what happens.
Yes. Ace should do a cover of Out of This World or When Lightning Strikes.
Yeah. That would be almost. You never said that previously.
I've said
That's a joke. That'd be funny.
I love that.
Bonus track.
Oh.
Yeah, it would be cool. I think that would be cool.
And Dark Light was he should do Jailbreak or Boys Back in Town. I think they cut Boys Are Back in Town back in the 80s with the Comet. I don't remember if that ever did make it. I've never heard it. So that would be very cool. All right, last question, because we're not going to talk about merch, because I don't like merch. These guys can do a separate show. They want to talk about excitement over merch. But off the soundboard, we've had one this year so far, and that is, of course, the Asylum soundboard. And if they do additional off the soundboards, what do you think? What would get you excited as the next one to come out? So pick the tour and frame it yourself, Mark. Mark's ready to go. You see him sitting.
Because as soon as you said that, there was one that's always been kind of floating in my head that I wish they would do, because I've seen this before, like this show. So it's not exactly rare or anything, but I'd love to hear it and get the hands on the audio and remix it properly and stuff like that. Is during the Crazy Nights tour, they went over to Europe and they did that sort of those Monsters of Rock thing, and they had that broadcast that they did there where they played that daytime show. Paul came up with that little Steinberger guitar and started playing and kicking. That show there in Germany that they did, I've always loved that show. I thought it was really good. Lots of high energy. The set list was actually pretty good during that as well. I'd love to see them do a sound off the soundboard of that, like clean it up a bit. I think that would be good. And it has Bruce in there still. It still has Eric Carr in there. And it's Crazy Nights gets a really bad lashing a lot of the times for being a terrible tour and this and that, but this is, I think, the exception for the rule. I know Daniel's probably seen that show a dozen times on YouTube, as is Ken and Julian, but I think it's definitely a good representation of them during that time. They seemed like they were getting into it. They had what's her name, Doro Pesh, introduced them on stage when they came out, so it had all the makings of a great show. So I think that would be a good one.
Yeah, and for anyone who wants to know what it would be like, a Crazy Night soundboard, go watch Tokyo '88, and you'll get your full fill of a fantastic sounding and excellent performance. Daniel.
I think the best thing with that concert is seeing Kiss walk up on stage and Gene adjusting his piece. That he's adjusting his piece that he has on his head. That's really funny. Yeah. So, well, that's a great concert. Great pick there, Mark. Not to sound like a broken record, but I always refer to the Revenge era tour. I think anything from 92 to 95 is my cup of tea. I'd love to see, something from maybe the US tour in 92 or South America. But we do have great quality stuff from South America, so you might not need that one. Or Tokyo or something, the 95 tour that they did of Japan and Australia, something like that. Or maybe the Foundations Forum. It's such a crazy show in 93 when they played odd stuff like Rock Bottom and stuff like that. So something from that era with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick, because now you have Eric Carr and Bruce. We need something with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick from the non-makeup era. So anything from that era, I would buy it immediately, because I think musically, that's one of my favorite eras of Kiss, for sure. So something from that era.
Yeah, since Lonnie's not with us this week due to other commitments, I'm going to go with Daniel's pick and agree with him, because I think that would be a great follow-up. Other than that, I would take a 1980.
Australia?
Having heard a new 1980, I would definitely be down with that. And also, I would take a 74. Yeah. Any day of the week, I would take something else from the originals that I don't have and haven't heard. In fact, I would take anything from any of the lineups that I don't have and haven't heard. Come on, I'm not going to be picky at this point. I will just be excited if they announce a second off the soundboard this year. I will be very happy with that, especially if they have it on offer as a CD from the get-go. I would be very happy with it. I'd be very excited. So I'll take anything, very, very much so. Ken?
Yeah, there's so many that I would.
Gene Simmons solo tour.
Gene Simmons solo tour, yeah. There's 1980 Australia is one. Then 1990 Hot in the Shade tour. I'd like one from that one. I'd also like the Club Tour 92.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
If they had my show that I went to, that'd be great. But if they had another club tour recording soundboard, that would be good too. But yeah, San Francisco, that would be just awesome if they actually have that. And I'd be so surprised and happy about that one. Even I wouldn't be, a 96 reunion tour, something a real good show that they did from that. I don't know about Tiger Stadium or not, but
you do have Donington, though, right?
Something.
You didn't like Donington?
Yeah, Donington. Was that part of that?
Yeah, they already released Donington.
And you got Tiger Stadium and something else on.
We got a million
as well. So
okay, so maybe not that. So,
but that 92 club tour would be awesome.
But that would be that would be my
great set list.
Try to get if that happens.
Yeah, actually, one of the records that I play the most is from New York in '92 on that club tour. There's a great audience recording from New York, I think it is. Brooklyn Rock City, it's often referred to as. And you can really feel the energy and the audience in that one, which kind of lacks in some of the live records they released. It feels real. So I would go for that as well. That would actually be my number one pick, the club tour. Yeah.
You know what's funny is you mentioned
Feel
the
Your
club
Heat
tour.
taking you higher.
I mean, isn't it funny though? We mentioned these club tours. There was one I distinctly remember. I'm sure Julian will remember which one this is, but there was one. I don't know if it's 88 or the club tour 90s where Gene comes out and starts singing. And they said it was so hot that he's saying in the mic, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It was so hot on stage. Yeah, was it that one? Yeah.
I think so. I'm guessing. I don't know off the top of my head. Sorry.
But yeah, it was because he keeps looking at Paul saying, "I can't breathe." Because the club was so hot and stiflingly warm. They're like,
That'd be Stone Pony 90. Again, I just lose track from that period because they had Marquee was pretty hot. Ritz was an absolute sweat pit, I seem to recall. And then Asbury Park in 90 was brutal. That's the one they blew their amps out on, I think.
"Oh, really?"
I don't know. That's why I write that shit down, Mark. I can't remember.
But Ken, what do you remember from that show? Do you have any inside information from that show? Many of us weren't able to attend the club tour.
I was lucky to get into that one, and I remember us going in, and they were actually playing the album over the speakers as we were walking in to the club.
Carnival of Souls.
Which,
Right?
which
No. 92.
92. Sorry.
Which song did they play out of
the first one I heard when I walked in was "Thou Shalt Not." I remember. I distinctly remember that, hearing that, and I thought me and my buddy. I'm like, they're playing Kiss, and that so that's new. I haven't heard that before because the album wasn't out yet.
No.
It wasn't released, so that was the first time hearing that song. And all I remember otherwise is we were packed in there like sardines, sweaty bodies, all It was like you said, it gets hot with that many people in a small place, but I didn't care. It was just it was Kiss, and they were just great on that one. And the first time seeing Eric Singer.
What do you think about the new songs? Because they played "Take It Off," "Unholy," and "Gotta Give Rock and Roll to You" wasn't that new, but I think they only played those two, didn't they? "Take It Off" and "Unholy." So.
Yeah, and it was great. And then the rest of the songs that they played were just like, wow, one after another. It was just a great show, great performance in this little club, and they were just on fire on that.
Would you rank that show
one of the highest
top 5?
Oh yeah, I would definitely.
All right,
pretty high.
I do want to acknowledge Wolf of Nature's observation. Indeed, clothing is a major profit point, and that's why things are bundled, because that's what it's all about. It's the music business, not music friends.
Yeah,
as Mike would say on his music business podcast. Again, it is all about bundling things to get people to buy things that they otherwise might not buy. They do that. You can't escape bundling.
If you want to get music friends, you should be at the podcasts. Here we are all music friends, because we sure as hell don't earn a lot of money from this.
Yeah.
Yep. So don't forget, Sunday nights, Podcast Rock City Live. And of course, they are the #1 podcast, right, Joe? We're also #1.
After us, they're #1. Yes,
everyone's #1. Support the podcast and share the news as it goes around. I think Mike Brandvold's on the Shout It Out Loud cast this week for an episode talking about fans. So I'm going to tune into that one after this. So that's it for this week. We covered quite a bit of stuff to be excited about in 2025. We didn't get to the Asylum 40th anniversary, but we'll no doubt.
That's another anniversary.
And we need to say we need Lonnie back for next week. We miss him.
Well, yeah, we need him next week, but I did bump out the Unmasked Refocus episode to a little bit closer to the album's release date. So Ken had some great idea for shows, so we'll do one of Ken's ideas next week, and hopefully Lonnie will be back with us when he can be. All right, that's it. I want to thank everyone who's joined as a subscriber, those who got their freebies, those who've signed up on their own. Check out the content and let me know what you think about it. I've got a very long video of thanks to make for tomorrow. I always thank new members weekly in an exclusive video.
I'm a new member.
What's going on, so you'll be able to check that out.
I'd like to see Julian reading from his books, live.
No,
for hours.
just me reading from my notes. I mean, look at the Peter Criss announcement of me reading just from the bullet points that I needed.
You were a bit
there.
nervous there. Yes, you were. Yeah.
You did a good job.
Petrified.
Come on.
Starstruck.
A bit
it's easier
starstruck,
just to
but you
talk
did fine.
than
You did
to-
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, again, I'm doing it for fun for the most part. So,
Yeah.
all right, that's it for this week. Thank you for joining us. So from Ken, Mark, Lonnie, and myself, and
No, Lonnie.
Lonnie.
Daniel,
Not
and
number
myself. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll
As long
see
as
you
we're
next
not number 2. Okay.
We're always number one. Everyone's
Number
number one.
Thank you for spending time listening to the KissFAQ podcast today. All sales are final. There are no refunds. If you'd like, look us up on Facebook or come over to the message board and discuss the topics we've broadcast today. Don't forget to hit subscribe wherever you've listened to this show, and a like would very much be appreciated. We hope you'll join us again, but until then, remember, life's a radio. Turn it up to 10.